Hello, good morning.
Morning po.
Morning po, ma'am.
Morning po, ma'am.
Morning po, ma'am.
Good morning po, ma'am.
Good morning. Okay. So, pwede na tayo mag-start. Okay, so start na tayo. At, teka lang. Pa-mute na lang ako. May sound effect bang na kayo naririnig?
Opo, ma'am.
Opo, ma'am.
Sige, teka lang. Wait lang. Ayan, okay na. So,
Opo,
good
ma'am.
morning ulit. Yan, okay, thank you. So, good morning ulit sa inyong lahat. So, for today, ang ating pong discussion is about the factors affecting food waste and culinary practices. Chapter 2 na tayo ng ating discussion. Maganda ba yung audio ko? Okay ba?
Yes po.
Opo, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Ayan, may kinabit kasi ako eh. Kaya para mas maganda. Pero next meeting, kaya lang yung mic ko ay nahahagap niya yung mga, ano yun, yung ingay. So, next week sana dumating na yung pang call center kong mic, o di ba? Feel na feel natin. So, yan. So, I think na 28 27 ang ang present. So, yung iba ay wala pa. Well, anyway, while we are waiting, we can't wait for them. So, let us start now. So, today, ang ating discussion is about the factors affecting food waste and culinary practices, the chapter 2. So, naalala nyo pa ba last meeting natin, yung napag-aralan natin? Yung ating yung highlights ng ating napag-aralan last meeting is more about the food waste, the food habits, at saka yung mga, ano pa ba yung ating na-discuss nun? Anyone? Aside from food habits, the food waste, may nakakaalala pa ba? So, walang nasagot. Anyway, so our objectives for today is, at the end of this our lesson, we will be able to define the concepts of the food practices and also understand the social factors that affects the food waste and the culinary practices in the world. Yan yung objective natin today. As an introduction, the food culture is multifaceted, influenced by a number of factors, of which the main ones are presented, briefly explained in this chapter. So dito, yung mga papakita natin, ano ba yung mga food waste or the factors that affect the food waste of the population in every group or area. And one of the factors may have more impact on bringing about the changes than other factors. And each has varying degrees and extent of influences that makes cultural foods around the world interesting and challenging to the readers and the culinary aficionados. So for today, our first topic is about to know the geographic allocation. So this geographic allocation of a country determines the location and place are used to denote a point or an area of the Earth's surface or elsewhere. So, and also the climate, it is the weather conditions prevailing in an area in general or over a long period. So, alamin natin yung geography nila, the climate, tsaka yung topography nila. So, ano ba yung meron topography in that area that refers, the feature themselves or the description. So, in this term, it refers the kind of terrain, yung mga mountains, kung meron bang silang valleys, forests, rivers, lakes, at saka kung ano-ano pa that surrounds that island. So, yan. And of course, the history. Yan. May history ba ang bawat bansa? So, if the current knowledge depends on existing documents or records about aborigine or the natives before foreigners came. So, di ba sa bawat bansa, may mga kanya-kanya merong kanya-kanyang history ang bawat bansa, paano ito nagsimula, sino yung mga ninuno nila, di ba? And of course, religion. Yan. Ito importante din ang religion. Bakit? The religion or a worship of a single God or many gods provide a person with an orderly relationship with himself or herself and with other followers as they connect with the spiritual or supernatural realm. The ancient world had beliefs and deities that included the ancestor and many gods and the goddesses. So dito sa religion, we have 8 major religion around the world. So ang una, the Buddhism. So that is the symbol of Buddhism kung makikita nyo sa baba. The Buddhism is a vast and a complex religious and philosophical tradition which stretches back over 2,500 years. It is spread throughout Central and East Asian countries that include Bhutan, Burma, and it is now Myanmar, Cambodia, China, Japan, Laos, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Thailand, and Vietnam. The basic teachings of Buddhism are found in the Four Noble Truths. So, state of nirvana. So, ibig sabihin, the state of wisdom, calmness, insight, and passionless. And most of the Buddhists is the lacto-ovo vegetarians. They are not allowed to eat meat, no meat allowed, and taking of life is forbidden. So, bawal ang magpatiwakal. Bawal din silang kumain ng karne. So, yan yung mga pinagbabawal sa Buddhism. It is the world's fourth largest religion with over 520 million followers. So, ito pala yung pinakamaraming followers or over 7% of the global population known as Buddhist. Buddhism encompasses a variety of traditions, beliefs, and spiritual practices largely based on the original teaching attributed to the Buddha and resulting interpreted philosophies. And many sects of Buddhism are established and their dietary laws vary. So, yan. Okay. And how about the rules? Pag sila naman ay, ano yung mga pagkain nila? The do's and don'ts? Ano yung allowable para sa kanila? Ano yung mga forbidden sa kanila? So the dietary rules, however, most Buddhists are the lacto-ovo vegetarians. A lacto-ovo vegetarian eating pattern is based on grains. So ito lang, pwede nilang kainin. The grains, the fruits, and vegetables, the legumes. So yung pwede yung dried beans, peas, and lentils. So pwede ang seeds, nuts, dairy products, at eggs. The second one is the Christianity. So it has the most number of followers around the globe. And the Christians represents the cross of Christ's crucifixions. The Christians' religious holidays are similarly observed throughout the world. So ano-ano ba yung mga traditions ng mga Kristiyano? So, sineselebrate dito yung the birth of Christ, or we call the Christmas Day. The Easter season, so ito yung the resurrection of Christ after the crucifixion. Yun yung ano nga tawag natin doon, yung Holy Week. Ano. And ano yung pag during Holy Week or the Easter, so tayo ay nagpa-fasting, yung mga Christians, nagpa-fasting and abstinence. Then they follow the church rites and traditional servings of foods that vary among nations. So, hindi naman ito pinagbaba sa Kristiyano, hindi naman bawal kumain ng karne o kung ano man, pero ini-encourage sa mga Kristiyano to take or make a fasting. So, magbawas. Kumbaga, iwasan muna ang pagkain na, kumbaga, yung mga kumain ng madami, ano, para nga makapag fasting tayo o kaya ay para ma-celebrate natin o hindi naman celebrate but to to join, ipagdiwang o anong tawag dito? Para ano nga ang tawag natin doon? Hindi i-celebrate makisama o what do you call that? Hindi celebration yung tawag doon sa Christian. Tanda ng pagkilala. Ayan. So, yun. And Christianity, the major religion stemming from the life, teachings, and death of Jesus of Nazareth, the Christ or the anointed one of God in the first century. It has become the largest of the world's religions and geographically the most widely diffused of all faiths. And Christian religious holidays, these occasions are similarly observed throughout the world. So, ito yung sinaset, observe natin, the birth of Christ, the Easter, ayan. And the fasting and abstinence days follows church rites and traditional serving of foods that vary among nations. And the dietary rules, sabi nga natin, limit or avoid eating too much, especially the pork. Ayan. So, kung maaari daw, during these days, pwede tayong, ang kainin lang natin is more on fruits or tinapay. So, usually, nung unang panahon, in the first century, ang kain noon ay yung tinapay na walang levedura or tinatawag natin na yeast. So, yun. Walang yeast, walang pampaalsa. So, tapos prutas lang. Ayan. At ina-avoid yung pagkain ng meat. The third one is the Confucianism and Taoism. The religion among the majority of the Chinese is a blend of Buddhism. Confucianism and Taoism, the yin-yang symbol is popular in the Chinese culture. So, alam niyo na tong yin-yang, nakikita na natin to. Ang yin-yang, it stands for the harmony, balance, and interdependence. Confucianism means total harmony, righteousness in your own life and your relations with your neighbor. And the Taoism was founded later based on the teaching of Chuan Tzu and Lao Tzu of the passionless oneness with the divine absolute. The basic principles of the Taoism is simplicity, the harmony, patience, and thrift. Food festivals are celebrated with the traditional foods, and the Lunar New Year is a festivity of a spring, and a family banquet is served. The third day and the third lunar month of the family picnics as graves of loved ones are cleaned and visited. In the Soul's Day, celebrated with family banquet, weddings are particularly a big family affair. So, yan. Ito po yung symbol ng yin-yang at ang Confucianism symbol. The religion among the majority of the Chinese is a blend of Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism. So, nagbe-blend sila. And the yin-yang symbol is popular. So, hindi lang to popular in the Chinese culture, but also in all over the world. And it is associated with Taoism and Confucianism. So it stands for sabi ko nga, it stands for the harmony, the balance, and interdependence. So, yan yung meron the yin-yang symbol. And how about the dietary rules? In Confucianism, the food basics, they eat only at meal times. Don't eat food that smells bad. Eat fresh and local. So, yan lang yung mga kinakain nila. And they do not eat food out of season. So, hindi sila nakain ng out of season food. And the meat should be eaten in moderation. Hindi tulad natin Pilipino, pag nakakain tayo, as in parang ang takaw-takaw natin. Sila ay hindi. Moderation lang sila. Moderate. And you need not limit drinking, but do not drink to the point of confusion. Pwede naman mag-inom. Pwede mag-inom, pero sa kanila, wag naman yung parang nawawala ka na sa sarili mo. Parang dito sa atin, yung bangingi o lasing na lasing. Yun. And the invention of the vegetarian food tofu was credited to a Taoist. And the Taoist religious orders and literatures often encourage practitioners to be vegetarian to minimize harms because all life forms are considered sentient. Yan po yung kanilang dietary rules. And the Hinduism, so makikita nyo itong symbol na Om. So yan yung symbol ng Hinduism. So this is the oldest religion. And the goal is to make the humans one with the Supreme Being. So Vedas are the scriptures considered as the supreme authority in the Hinduism. So this Sanskrit letter pronounced Om. So it is represent the ultimate being or divinity. And all rules about the food and drink consumption should eat to the purity of mind and spirit. Bad food habits hamper communication with the Supreme Being. So this is considered the oldest religions and originated saan? Originated po siya sa India and it spread to many other areas of the world. So yeah. The goal is to make humans one with Supreme Being or the Universal Spirit. The dietary rules po ng Hinduism is all rules about food and drinks consumption should lead to the purity of mind and spirit. Many Hindus are vegetarians because of the belief that not to inflict pain on animal. Ayaw nila nang masasaktan ang animals. So yan. Ay, wala na ring ingay. The cow is considered sacred and is neither slaughtered nor eaten. Pork is also avoided and eating fish with ugly forms are forbidden. The heads of fowls, ducks, camel, boars, and snails, crabs, and snake are not eaten. So ito yung hindi nila kinakain. And the certain foods are considered pure and allowed include milk, water from sources of specially sanctity, turmeric, and beans but not lentils, and red-colored foods. Alcohol drinks are also avoided. So yeah, hindi talaga sila nag-iinom. And the fifth one, Islam. Yan, ito yung mga kapatid natin na Muslim. So the Islam is the world's second most followed religion. Second most followed religions. The star, yung makikita nyo, the star, it represents the knowledge and light. Yung crescent naman, yung parang moon, it represents progress. So yan yung meaning nila. So ang Islam, ang ibig sabihin ng Islam, it is the submission to the will of God. Yan. Sinusuko mo yung sarili mo kay God. Ang founder ng religion ng Islam ay si Muhammad. And Mecca, itong Mecca, this is the holy place to God, Allah. And the Quran is the Islam's sacred yun ha. Wrong spelling ako. Sacred writing. Yan. Foods allowed are called halal. Forbidden foods called baram. Yan. It includes swine, four-footed animals, and birds. So yan po yung mga tawag. And their fast and feast days, they called it Ramadan. So yan nga. The foodways are based on Quran teachings. The 5 pillars of the Quran include fasting to experience hunger of the poor and needy, and to wipe our previous sins. The Islam dietary laws believe that food is not survival, and good health and self-indulgence is not permitted. Muslims are advised not to eat more than 2/3 full of their capacity and to share foods with others. Food is never thrown away or wasted. Eating with clean hands is customary and the right hand is used for picking up food. And the left is for personal hygiene and is considered unclean. So, ang pang-pick nila ng food is right, tapos yung mga pang-personal hygiene ay yung left hand. Ano? So, dapat ay ganun yung kanilang practice. Kasi once na ginamit mo yung right hand mo for personal hygiene, so ibig sabihin madumi na siya. Kasi yung right hand pangkuha ng foods or yun nga, picking up the foods. So dapat yung hands nila ay very clean. Okay? So yun. And the dietary rules are foods allowed are halal. Ito nga, ulitin ulit natin. The forbidden foods are called baram. So ito yung swine, four-footed animals that catch their prey and improperly slaughtered animals. Combination of dietary products and allowed meats and fish are permitted. So yun lang yung permitted sa kanila. And all fruits and vegetables are also allowed. Except lang yung mga fermented at saka yung poisonous ones. Yung mga nakakalason. So, hindi sila kumakain ng mga fermented na pagkain. And strictly, yung alcohol ay bawal. Bawal silang uminom ng alcohol. And the sixth one is Judaism. Yeah, the Jewish religion is about 4,000 years old. The book of Moses contained the 10 commandments and the right way to prepare food. The six-pointed star known as Solomon's seals combines the alchemical science of fire and water, kind of animal fit to eat clean animals, cattle, deer, goat, oxen, and sheep. The unclean animals are carnivorous are rabbit and swine. Pork products like animal shortening and gelatin are not allowed. Clean birds are those with a crack, gizzard, and an extra talon, such as chicken, ducks, geese, and turkeys. Their eggs are permitted. Birds with prey and eggs are not allowed. Yeah. Fishes with fins and scales are allowed, but not catfish, eels, rays, sharks, and all shellfish. Judaism originated in Israel and also in Israel. What do Jews believe? Jews believe that there is a single God who not only created the universe, but with whom every Jew can have an individual and personal relationship. So the dietary rules, dietary rules are kind of animals with fit to eat like, yan nga ulit, yung cattle, deer, goat, oxen, and sheep. So yun po yung mga dietary rules nila. Ano? Eggs are permitted, birds of prey, and their eggs are not allowed. Yeah. So we have the Seventh-day Adventist. So ito yung mga tinatawag natin na Sabadistas. So Sabadistas is a Spanish Filipino term for the followers of this religion. The dietary code is simply unique because of its adherence to a totally health vegetarian diet. So sila din, ito din ay sila yung mga lacto-ovo-vegetarian. So example, no eggs and milk are allowed. Olive oil and grains, whole grains are prepared, and all fruits allowed. Alcohol, tea, coffee are prohibited. So yan yung mga pwedeng kainin at hindi pwedeng kainin. So with this religion, it is roots in Protestantism, but once of its founders, and originated in the USA in the mid of 1800s, and established the seventh day of the week, so Saturday, as its holy day. So Sabado sila nangingilin o sumasamba. Yan. And the meal preparation and kitchen chores are done on the day before or the day following after Saturday to spend the Saturday for religious rites and prayers. So the Sabadistas dietary code is unique because of its adherence to a totally health vegetarian diet. So, yun nga yung mga bawal at hindi nila pwedeng kainin. Ano? So, bawal sa kanila yung mga alcohol, tea, and coffee. Fruits, yan. And vegetables are allowed. Yan. Bawal din, ang alam ko bawal din silang kumain, di ba, ng meat. So, kaya sila ay lacto-ovo-vegetarian. So, veggie meat ang tawag nila. So, yan. Kumbaga more on vegetables. Yan. We have also the Shintoism. The main characteristics is the ancestor worship. An ancestor is believed to become a kami or being after death. Thus remains alive within the family. The rituals include offering rice wine in the family altar. They have 2 altars at home, one for the living and the living room and the religious activities and other for dead ancestors. So magkahiwala yon. The fresh foods and the drink at the beginning of each day are set on both altars. Feast days, 3-day celebration of New Year house is thoroughly cleaned and guests are invited to visit and eat. So that's the Shintoism. So yan po. So let us now, may mga tanong pa po ba about the religion? So hindi na natin masyadong i-elaborate yung mga religions kasi we believe that although we have different religion, tayong lahat, iba-iba tayo ng religion, but we believe in one God. Right? So yan. At meron din tayong kanya-kanyang practices at saka traditions na sinusunod. And let us now move on to the social factors affecting the cultural foods. So there are many manifestations of how the social values of foods are observed. The most common practices worldwide include is the hospitality by sharing of foods and drinks with the family or friends. So tayo bilang isang Pilipino, tayo ay kilala bilang hospitable ang mga Filipino. Di ba ga? Ito, nabanggit ko na sa inyo ng mga unang the last years, nung tayo ay, ano ba subject natin yun? In the meal management, right? So, ang Pilipino ay talagang napaka-hospitable. Di ba nga, tayo ay maglalabas ng bagong pinggan, bagong kutsara, bagong tinidor, bagong baso, kasi may dadating tayong bisita. Di ba? Tama? So, ilalabas ang bagong kubrikama, unan, kasi may tutulog na bisita na galing abroad. Yan. Imbis na tayo ay gumamit ng ating mga bagong biniling gamit, ipagagamit muna natin ito sa kanila bago tayo. Ay bakit baga tayo nagtitiis sa mga punit-punit na nating bedsheet, covers, kumot, tapos yung mga ginagamit natin, yung mga plato natin may dents na, yung mga plato natin na plastic, yung ang papangit ng kutsara, tinidor, and etc. Pero bakit hindi natin gamitin as our daily, di ba? Daily use. Instead na ilagay natin sa cabinet para pag may dumating sakalang pagagamit. Aminin ninyo na hanggang ngayon yan pa rin ang practice ng parents nyo. Tama ba? Kasi ang nanay ko ganun eh. Yan. Sabi ko, bakit hindi mo ba't hindi mo gamitin o ilabas yung mga bago nating pinggan? Bakit ipapagamit natin sa bagong bisita? So, ibig sabihin, dapat sila muna ang unang gumamit bago tayo. Yung pinagamitan nila, saka natin gagamitin. So, yan yung mga practice na ginagawa ng mga magulang natin noong unang panahon. Pero ngayon, sana hindi na. Kung ano yung binili natin na bago, gamitin natin. Diba? So, yan. Huwag natin gawin palagi yung kung kailan lang may bagong bisita, saka ilalabas yung bagong gamit. Diba? So, yan. Second one is the banquets to honor the dignitary or the valued guest. Yan. Naghahanda tayo ng masasarap na pagkain para i-share sa mga bisita natin kung ano yung specialty ng ating specialty natin o yung mga lutuin natin. So the food gifts instead of followers for special holidays to show love and appreciation or gratitude. So minsan tayo pag bibisita tayo, 'di ba? Bibisita tayo tulad ng mga may birthday parties. Kahit anong klase ng okasyon o birthday parties. Nagdadala tayo ng regalo, gifts, a present, like food presents or food gifts, 'di ba? To show them that we love them. So yan. At minsan ina-appreciate natin na in-invite tayo kasi ibig sabihin pag in-invite tayo, special tayo at love nila tayo. And we are kumbaga pinapahalagahan nila tayo. Kaya tayo iniimbitahan. So yan. 'Di ba tulad kapag yung kasalan. 'Di ba pag may kasalan, pag naimbitahan ka, tuwan-tuwa ka kasi ibig sabihin ay gusto nila na ikaw ay isa sa mga makasaksi ng kanilang pag-iisang dibdib o ng kanilang isang napakagandang okasyon na mangyayari lamang na isang beses sa buong buhay nila. So gusto nila na ikaw ay witness o kasali doon. Yan, di ba? Picnics and the potluck or cookouts, celebrating holidays with family and community. So, di ba ito ginagawa natin minsan once a year or twice a year during summer season. Dito kasi sa atin sa Pilipinas, ang summer season natin ay tuwing pag sumapit na ang April hanggang May. So that is the summer season. At dun lang tayo nakakapag-set ng picnics para ma-enjoy natin yung summer season. Pwede rin naman tayong mag-picnic nang hindi during summer season. Pwede naman in any day of the month. Any month of the year. 'Di ba? Kahit anong buwan pwede. Yan. Food gifts like confectionery and fruit basket for sick relative or friend in the hospitals. So ito talagang ginagawa natin ng kahit sinong tao, kahit anong lahi. Yung kapag may sakit kang kaibigan, kamag-anak o mahal sa buhay, you are visiting someone. You brought and bring a basket of fruits, a basket of food, para ipakita na you care for them. Diba? Next is just leisure, happy hours with friends or office mates and coworkers after the hard day of work. Yan. Ito yung kalimitan. Palaging ginagawa ng mga tao na after they work, sa buong isang araw, they go for some tea, they go for some beer para mag-inom lang, para mais lang o kaya ay mawala yung pagod. Yan yung mga kalimitang ginagawa ng tao, 'di ba? O kahit kayo, 'di ba, pagkatapos ng exam, 'di ba? Halimbawa kayo mga college students, pagkatapos yung mag-exam, you drink. 'Di ba? You drink kasi you are celebrating na after a 6 months of studying o pagkatapos ng isang SEM, kumbaga natapos mo ang isang SEM, you are celebrating na, oh, salamat God, natapos ko ang isang SEM. Makakapag-enroll na ako ulit for the another SEM. So kumbaga you are grateful na natapos mo yung after 6 months mong pag-review, pag-aaral, yan. So, that is a leisure. And the family celebrations are not complete without the preparation and service of recipes handed down from generation to generation. And the family daily meals are happy meal times because of lifestyle by members. Tayo mga Pilipino, tayo ay laging merong meron tayong weekly celebration, di ba? Tulad nito, weekends, Saturday and Sundays. So, kapag Saturday and Sundays, ibig sabihin family time. So, pag nagpa-family time tayo, sometimes we celebrate without no occasions. Tayo ay sasama-sama para lang kumbaga ay kumbaga nag-get together tayo kasi sa buong kumbaga sa buong isang linggo laging kumbaga weekly nagmi-meet kayo sa bahay ng nanay ninyo o kaya sa bahay ng lola ninyo para mag-celebrate kayo ng meals, So, yeah. And the table manners or etiquettes are social graces that speaks of a person's cultural values. There are cultural variations on what gestures or acts are considered rude and what are acceptable manners such as handshaking or hugging or kissing. So, yan. So, yan po yung mga etiquettes natin. And how about the economic factors that affect the cultural foods? The number one factor that affects one's food choices in income or buying power with the modern means of transportation for trading and travel foods can be produced. The nations who are rich in oil sell them at the high prices, then buy foods and other goods with the income. And the farmers and fishermen sell their extra harvest or catch to buy their family needs. The developing countries are most affected by poor economic conditions when the per capita income of the population, for various reasons like high unemployment rate or low wages, is below the subsistence level by world standards. Public health problems are triggered. And the warring tribes or the fight for foods donations, hunger, foods insecurity, poor health and nurture lead to more problems. And the increasing food production by family backyard gardens, animal farms, or developing cottage industries with governmental and private funding will boost food economy. And the crop, fruits, vegetable that can grow well in an area should be fully utilized. And the extras become source of income such as a cash crops. So, yan. Tayo bilang yung ating mga kababayan na mga magsasaka, yung mga fishermen. So, nag-harvest sila para may pangtusto sila. They sell their products to the market. Para may pangtusto sila sa pang-araw-araw. At kung wala sila, syempre, kung walang mga farmers, fishermen, yung mga yan, kung wala ang mga taong iyan, wala tayong mga pagkain na mabibilhan. So, yeah. The psychological factors of the cultural foods. So, the food symbolism and values attached to the food are part of emotional and psychological factors attributed to the consumption of certain foods. Comfort foods are family recipes or edibles enjoyed by members and give them a sense of belonging or security. Love is expressed by sharing foods and giving food gifts, and peer pressure could be a social and psychological among teenagers in their food choices, where to eat and with whom. Tayong mga Pilipino, o kahit hindi Pilipino, kahit sinong tao, tayo ay, we express our loves by sharing the foods and giving it as a food gifts. And sometimes, pag tayo nagse-celebrate o gusto natin, pag kakain tayo sa labas, di ba? Pumipili tayo ng taong gusto nating makasama, na makasamang kumain sa labas, di ba? Halimbawa, your loved one, jowa mo, boyfriend mo, girlfriend mo, you celebrate your anniversary or monthsary. So, pipili kayo ng restaurant kung saan nyo gusto kumain, di ba? So, yon. And minsan, halimbawa, your family, kakain kayo sa labas, buong family. So, yan. Pipili kayo ng isang restaurant na yung gusto nyo, yung trip nyong restaurant, o kaya yung restaurant na hindi nyo pa natatry kainan. At yun, you eat together. Yun. That is the psychological factor. Diba? The health concerns, yan. Ito yung mga health concerns. Minsan kasi, halimbawa, ikaw ay masasaktin. Kumbaga, ikaw ay nagda-diet kasi meron kang sakit. Halimbawa, example natin yung mga may sakit sa diabetic, yan. May diabetic o diabetes, may sakit na ganon. So, hindi sila pwedeng kumain ng mga pagkain na sobrang tamis. So, hindi rin sila pwedeng kumain ng rice. Kasi ang rice nga ay puno o madami, mayaman sa sugar. So, hindi sila pwedeng kumain nun. So, kaya, diet sila. Kumbaga, limited ang pagkain nila ng rice. Konti-konti lang. Yan. Kunyari naman, ako, mataba, gusto ko magpapayat. Ayokong kumain ng masyadong macarbohydrates tulad ng potato, pasta, rice, breads, cakes, chocolates. So, lahat ng mga may sugar at mga makakarbo. So, hindi ako kakain nun kasi nga, gusto kong mabilis akong pumayat. So, yan. O, kunyari ako ay, halimbawa, may sakit ako sa kung anuman. Kunyari, bawal akong kumain ng karne. Yan, ng karne. Kasi yung uric ko tumataas. So, yan. So, limit lang ang pagkain ko nun. O kaya, meron akong rayuma. Pinagbawal ni Doc na kumain ako ng yung mga grains, o kaya gulay na mga may buto, tulad ng beans, sitaw, ano pa ba? Yung mga pistachios, yan, sarap, diba? Yun mga masasarap, yun yung mga pinagbabawal, diba? So, that is an example of health concerns. Pero, syempre, balikan natin yung mga glow foods. Ano ba yun? So, dun yung makikita sa food pyramid kung saan belong yung mga karne, saan belong ang isda, saan belong ang gulay at prutas, saan belong ang mga dairy products, meat, cheeses, and others. So, yan. Pagdating sa health concerns. Kasi para at least guided ka, hindi yung kain-kain ka na mamaya naman pala bawal pala sa'yo or hindi pwede sa'yo. Ayan. So, our highlights. The highlights of our discussions for today is more about the affected cultural foods, multifaceted and complicated as regards with the history of the food alone or detailed narratives of the dietary codes of the religious. So, ano-ano nga ba yung mga religion? Ilan ba yun? Madami yun, di ba? Parang 8. So, ano-ano nga yung mga religion na meron tayo sa buong mundo. So, meron tayong Buddhism, Hinduism, Christians, Judaism, Seventh-day Adventist, yan. And ano ba yung hindi ko nabanggit na 3? Anyone?
Islam po.
Yan, Islam. Ano pa?
Confucianism po.
Yes, Confucianism. Ano ba yung Islam?
Christian. Hinduism.
Okay. Ayan. Okay. Pamute na ako. Okay, thank you. So, very good. So, yan yung mga religion dito sa atin, sa buong mundo. So, yan. Mabuti naman at meron kayong natandaan. Okay. And our second highlights is about the foodways around the world. That are varied as the people inhabiting an area or region in the world map. So, na-discuss natin yung topography, the economic and environmental factors. Ayan. The politics, disasters from the cultural heritage that are deep-rooted and determine the food habits and available food supply. So, about dun sa economic natin, nowadays, ma-share ko lang. So, medyo bagsak ang ekonomiya ng bansa natin. Hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, but all over the world. Diba? And ngayon, dapat mas pinapaigting natin ang pagtatanim. Ang pagtatanim, good morning, anak. Say hi. Hi. Good morning. Ayan. Ayan. So, kailangan yung pagtatanim ng, mas paigtingin pa ang pagtatanim ng mga prutas, gulay. Diba? Dapat kasi, mas yun yung needs ngayon ng tao. Diba? So, tulad na lang ng yung mga may poultry, diba? Yung chicken. So, dapat mas padamihin pa ang production ng pagpapalaki, pag-aalaga ng mga baboy, chicken, ng kung ano man yung ating mga, yung the most essential needs natin nowadays, diba? Pero, syempre, as about with the environmental factors naman, ay wag naman sana tayong maging abuso sa ating kalikasan. Syempre, mahirap na yung balik nito, yung karma, 'di ba? Yung karma pagdating ng panahon. So, wag lang nating abusuhin si Mother Earth. Yan. And the politics, dito sa politika lang naman, mas paigtingin pa yung mas mabuting pagpaplano para sa ikabubuti ng ating bansa at ng ating mamamayan. Ano ba? Yun lang naman doon. And tulad ngayon, parang ang limit ngayon, di ba? May mga bagyo, so umuunti ang supply natin ng pagkain kapag nagkakaroon ng sakuna sa bawat bansa o bawat lugar, rehiyon. So, yeah. Anyway, as moving on, yung highlights pa natin is about the psychological factors of the cultural foods. Ano ba yung mga kultura natin about the foods? Tayo ba ay mga vegetarian? Tayo ba ay non-vegetarian? O kaya ay kung ano man yung ating mga ways, and practices as regards with the foods. And the perceptions of health. Ayan, kung tayo ay medyo conscious about our health, di ba? Kung conscious tayo, health conscious tayo, yan. Dapat ay maging aware tayo. Always consult to the doctors. Doon tayo magko-consult. Huwag yung, kumbaga, tinrain lang natin to without consulting the doctors, baka kasi mamali tayo. Yan. The weight, the beauty, and the body image differ among cultures and the health concerns around the world. So that is our exercises. So, dun po sa ating kaninang, dun sa ating Google Classroom, so pakigawa na lang po yung inyong exercises doon and then i-submit nyo na lang. Okay? So, ito po ay i-discuss natin on the next meeting. The foodways of Northern China. The Chinese food in China, the Chinese food in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. So, i-discuss natin to na next week. Okay? So, yan po yung ating discussion for next week. So, may mga tanong po ba? So, kung kayo may mga tanong pa, ano po yung mga tanong na gusto nyo itanong sa akin today? Ano ang tanong? Guys, may tanong ba? Guys, kung wala kayong tanong, tayo ay mag-move na dun sa another topic. So, ngayon pa lang magtanong na. O, Miss President, may tanong ka ba?
Ma'am, ma'am, pwede po magtanong yun lang po dun sa una pong gawain kung saan po isasubmit. Yung pong sa page, yung pinicturean lang po namin yung first activity po.
Okay. Sige.
Sinend ko po sa inyo, hindi pa po nasisinay, baka lang po makaligtaan.
Okay, hindi. Kaya hindi ko sinisin. Baka kasi hindi malimutan ko. Pero basta mag-submit lang kayo doon. Okay na yon. Ako nang bahala. Kaya hindi ko sinasubmit siya. Oo.
Thank you po.
Okay. Tapos may mga exercises ako doon. Pero open pa siya mamayang 1 p.m. yata. 1 p.m. pa siya. Yung mga self-check. Ayun yata para mamaya pa na. Sorry, napa-advance naman yata ako. Okay. So, madali lang naman. So, guys, yung kasunod na pwede kayong mag-advance reading na doon. Mag-advance reading na kayo, make some research. At guys, meron tayo sa susunod na gagawin na after nitong aking kayo naman yung magre-report. Nabasa nyo? Nabasa nyo dun sa module na binigay ko? Diba? So, kung nabasa nyo na, okay. Kung nabasa nyo na siya, so di ba may groupings ako doon? So, ngayon pa lang ay mag-start na kayo para prepared na kayo. Hindi kayo mahahassle o hindi hassle at hindi kayo mararatel pagdating ng time na kayo ay magre-report na. So, kasi next week yata ay tapos na yung aking part as yung mag-report ako. Mag-discuss ako sa inyo ng yun sa Northern China. Parang yun na yung aking last kasi kumbaga ito yung example na ng ways natin kung paano tayo mag-discuss. Pero syempre, nandito ako at ako naman yung magtatanong sa inyo. Ganon. Practicein nyo na guys yung pagiging teacher nyo. Okay? Practicein na natin. Para kayo ay 120% ready na para maging isang guro. So, yun. I-ready nyo na. Mag-type na kayo. Tapos make some research. Tapos ako po yung magtatanong. Kaya paghahandaan nyo. Oo, ako ang magtatanong. Tsaka yung mga kaklase nyo. Magpe-prepare kami ng tanong. Siyempre, yung hindi naman madali at baka kayo mahangal bigla. Sabihin nyo yung tanong namin out of the universe. So, wala nang tanong?
Paano po ang grouping?
Sino? Patrick? Ba't magganon? Naku, i-type mo na lang. Hindi namin maintindihan. I-type mo na lang. Hindi namin maintindihan. Babasahin na lang namin.
Ma'am, excuse me nga po.
Okay.
Ma'am, paano po kaya yung nakapagsagot agad nung una po, dun po sa self-check?
Sa self-check ay
Yung nakapagsagot po agad ma'am ng una po.
Okay lang. Walang problema. Okay lang yun.
Sige po ma'am, salamat po.
Sabi ni Patrick, hello. Ayan. Sabi ni Patrick, paano po ang groupings? Meron akong note doon sa, parang sa last page pa yun. Anong page yun? Hindi ko memorize yung pages ng module. Wala kasi akong hawak. Parang meron ako doon na nakalagay sa groupings. Parang pipili ka ng kagroup mo. Ilan yun? 2 ba? Tama? 4. Okay. Pili ka ng 4 mo. 4 kayo. Tama ba? Bali, 4 kayo. Tama? Okay. Bali, 4 kayo sa isang grupo. Tapos, choose a leader. Correct me if I'm wrong, ha? Choose a leader. Tapos, si leader ang mag-a-assign ng bawat kung ano yung gagawin nyo. Siyempre, bawat sa isang member ng grupo, may kanya-kanya kayong gawain. Kunyari, tulad kanina, na-discuss ko yung, next, ano pa pala yung example na, kasi may i-discuss kayo ng topography, geography, isa-search nyo yon yung bawat bansa. Halimbawa, ang napa-assign halimbawa ay kay President, kay Lori ay kunyari ay China. Napa-assign. Siya ang leader, si Lori. Tapos si Lori mag-a-assign si President sa kanyang grupo halimbawa kay Robin. Kay Robin kunyari ay Hong Kong. So isa-search ni Robin yung Hong Kong as based on the topography, the climate, the geography. Aalamin niya yon. Ano yung food cultures nila. So yan. So next meeting ko naman ipapakita sa inyo paano yung arrangement So ganyan lang. So for the meantime, mag-search na kayo, maghanap na kayo kung sino yung apat. So mag-search na kayo mag-usap-usap na kayo sino yung inyong napupusuan na gagawin yung kagrupo. Yan, So may reporting pa rin. Akala ninyo wala, di ba? Akala nyo ako lang ng ako, ha? May kasali kayo dito. Siyempre, yun ay performance task natin. Tapos, dun sa grupong napili nyo, yun na yung grupo nyo till the end. Hanggang sa pagluluto. Magluluto pa rin tayo. Pero hindi madami. Pipili lang kayo. Halimbawa sa grupo ni Lori, di ba? Kunyari sila group 1. China, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand. Kunyari, yun yung magkakasama. Tapos, pipili lang kayo ng isang dish na madali lang. Tapos, huwag kayong pipili ng recipe, ng pagkain, nang wala dyan sa inyong bayan na recipe. At mahihirapan kayong magluto. You could ask me, anong alternative? Pwede niyong ipacheck muna sa akin yung recipe. May nagustuhan kayo. Sabi niyo, ma'am, pacheck po ako ng recipe ko. Kaya lang po, may ingredients na hindi available sa market. So, pwede kong i-check yon at papalitan natin lang ng ingredients yon. Pero same pa din, yung lulutuin nyo. Para mapakita natin na yung niluto nyo ay from China. Best in China o best in Vietnam, best in Hong Kong. Diba? So, palitan lang natin ng kaunti na nahahawig na ingredients. Kasi kapag pinalitan natin buong buo yun, hindi na yun best food in China. Diba? O best food in Hong Kong. So, yan. Nagets nyo? Yan. Okay. Mr. Bala, okay na ba? Excuse. Mr. Bala, pakitype. Okay na? Nasagot ko? Okay. Thank you. Yan. Kung nasagot ko naman ng tama yung tanong nyo, may tanong pa ba para tayo makapag-move on na? Hindi makapag-move on sa mga jowang sinaktan kayo, pero makapag-move on sa another topic or subject matter natin. Ayan. Kayo ba tayo mo na kwentuhan ng pa-very light, mga 5 minutes lang. It's 10:31 sa aking relo. So we have 4 minutes para tayo ay mag-continue sa ating another lesson. May mga katanungan ba? Pag pwede kayong mag-type, babasahin ko na lang. Wala na kayong mga katanungan?
Kain mo na, Ma'am Pai.
Ha? Jenny?
Kakain lang, Ma'am, kakaup sa
Ako'y nag-iisip kung kailan ako magpaparaffle. Yun, nag-iisip ako kailan ako magpaparaffle
Ma'am, kailan paraffle mo? Hindi ako nakasama.
Iba naman.
Ngayon na.
Ngayon na. Nini, kunin mo
Hindi naman kasali yung nakatanggap.
Ma'am, ngayon na po.
Ngayon na. Agad-agad. Kunin mo yung buksan mo yun.
Kaya naman para magganaan.
Ay, ganon. Sa Pasko 20 ulit, i-Gcash ko na lang. So, dapat meron kayong Gcash, meron kayong Paymaya account. Dahil doon ko isesend. Yung 20 pesos.
Wow, meron ako, ma'am.
Meron pa 20.
40 na.
Ay, hindi, 20 lang. Yun lang ang kaya ko.
Madadagdagan ng pan-load, ma'am.
Yes. O kaya pwede naman bibigyan ko na lang kayo ng load, di ba? Pasa load. Tsaka yung isa. Wait lang ha.
Hello, Lori.
Yes, Kuya Rodmar.
Ba't naka-uniform ka?
Wala lang, gusto ko lang.
Yan. Ito sana yung aking ipapa-raffle.
Yes naman.
Pwede ito sa lalaki.
Yan, ma'am. Gusto ko yan. Gusto ko yan.
Ano po yan, ma'am?
Ma'am, ano yan?
Pwede ito sa lalaki.
Toner yan?
Pwede sa babae.
Akala ko yung pang,
Facial
yung
wash?
pang deodorant, ma'am.
Facial wash.
Toner?
Pang-glow ng skin sa mukha.
Hindi.
Facial wash.
Facial wash lang siya. Foam siya pag lumabas. Foam. Kung get mo yung nasa...
Ano pong brand?
Kala mabunto yan.
Meron ako nito, 5 piraso, 5 bottle yata o 4 na lang. So, pamimigay ko yun.
Yes naman.
Kasama ko sa lima.
Sana mabigyan ako.
Yun namang nanalo nung nakaraan, hindi na siya mabibigyan.
Hindi nakatali. Buti naman, ma'am.
Teka, tinitingnan ko kung... Ayan. Lalabas siya ay foam na. O, tinan niyo. Teka nga. Ayan. Nakita niyo ba? Parang hindi ko nakita. Foam na siya, foam.
Yes po, nakita po namin. Nakita po.
Ayan. Pera mo ko ng basahan. Anak. Yan. Foam siya lalabas.
Baka lalo kaming gumanda dyan.
Oo. Ang gamit ko nga ay, may gamit ako ngayon iba. Kaya lang pinimpol ako. Ayan, kakasura. Alam mo ako, dami-dami kong products na tinatay. Nene, come here. Wait nga lang ulit. Wait lang.
Kuya Ram.
Lori,
Yes po.
papitsa ka na.
Tayo mag-report na, Kuya Ram.
Ito yung gamit. No? Ayan, ito, oh.
Riskin.
Yan, itong gamit ko ngayon.
Yan yung yung ginagamit ni, nung kakilala ko, ma'am. Maganda na yung mukha, makinis, makintab pati.
Correct. Ako pati nagpatato ng kilay. Para pagkaharap nyo, hindi na ako magme-makeup. Nag-lipstick lang ako, guys.
Maganda pala yun.
Diba? Oo, tattoo yan, guys, tattoo.
Permanent na po yan, ma'am. Permanent na.
Microblading, good for 1 year. Hindi siya ink ng pang yun, yung mismong pang tato. Ang ginamit ay organic. Kaya siya ay mag-fade after a year or 2 years pa. So, yan. Best in uniform, si Lerum, at saka best in chef uniform, si Lori. Kita mo naman. May ID pa si Lerum. Oh, may ID.
Ma'am, baka mawala sa bahay ay. Kaya kailangan mag-ID.
Kaya siya pa ako. Oo. Hindi siya sinama ni Joanne.
Okay.
Galit na galit si Ate Pauline.
Pauline, ano ba yung mga anak mo ba yun?
Opo, ma'am. Tapos may kausap pa ako dito yung isang nagtawag ng mama ko.
naka-uniform din daw si Bala. O, patingin nga kung naka-uniform ka. Ayaw naman magpakita ni Bala. Ba, siya nga, naka-uniform din, naka-chef uniform. Kompleto ba tayo? Ilan ba lahat kayo? Hindi ko makita sa aking 27. Ba't 26 kayo? Sinong nawawala? Ay, hindi. 31 people pala. 31. Kayo ba 35 ba kayo?
34 po, ma'am. Baka po si Jezabeth wala po at may
Tapos po si
namatay po
Trixie,
yung
wala po si
tatay.
Trixie.
Okay. Sino ba yung mga nasa tawid dagat pa? Nawala na, wala.
Hindi ka ba si Boss Carlos?
Okay. Sige, di bale. Ito na may ni-record ko, i-upload ko na lang. Yung last hindi pa naka-upload. Tinatamad pa ako mag-upload. Sa dami ng gawa sa DepEd, Ma'am She. Nakakahangal na. O, magti-teacher pa kayo.
Opo, ma'am.
Mag-a-assessor na lang po, ma'am. Ganyan din.
Aba, ngayon ay pwede na ulit mag-assess. Binayagan
Yes
na ng
naman.
TESDA. Binayagan ng TESDA ang may face-to-face na assessment.
Yes, mabuti na lang.
Yes, nabasa ko sa GC namin na pumayag na ang TESDA. Pero ngayon wala pa, hindi pa nagkakandak, wala pang nangyayari dahil siguro inaayos pa nila paano yung setup, anong sistema yung gagawin para ma-observe pa rin yung social distancing, etc. So, yun ang pinaka-importante. Kaya yun. Kaya excited na ako mag-assess. Well, anyway, ano pa ba? Pwede na, 10:40 na. So, okay lang ba tayo ay medyo sala sa oras? Tapos? Okay lang ba? Baka abutin tayo ng mga 11:45, tama-tama. Pagkakain nyo, merong pagkain yung brain nyo, so makakapagsagot kayo at exactly 1 p.m. Open na yung quizzes, yung online quizzes. Eh di may laman yung utak nyo, yung brain nyo. Gagana. So, yan. Okay. Ako'y magpe-present na. Wait lang, ayusin ko lang yung aking.
Ma'am, pwede po magtanong?
Oh yes, ano yun?
Ano po magsasagot po kami mamayang 1 o'clock hanggang pwede.
Ano? Parang wala naman time limit yata yung nilagay ko. Basta open na siya ng 1 o'clock pagsasagot.
1 o'clock po open na po siyang sagutan. Tapos wala po siyang
Close
limit
na po siya ng 5.
Oh, wala siyang limit. Basta mag-o-open lang siya ng 1 p.m. Then submit nyo na lang. Okay na yun. Wala akong nilagay doon na time limit eh. Kasi yung isa, di ba yung isa, nakapagsagot kayo doon, hindi ko na schedule, kaya kayo ay merong advance na nasagutan na. Oh, naipost ko ka.
Meron yung isa, yung pong yung let's do, yung kanina po sa international cuisine.
Oh, kaya nga, kaya okay lang yun. Nauna na kayo kaysa sa discussion ko. Teka lang, hindi ko siya maano. Ayan, okay na. Nakikita ko na. Okay, so good morning again. Welcome to another class of the pamute muna ako. All mute muna. Okay. So welcome to our second subject, the Andragogy of Trainers Methodology, including principles. So welcome again and good morning again. So we are now at the second lesson for the competency standard. Ano? So ganito na guys yung mangyayari, yung parang yung mangyayari kasi ganito yung setup or pagkakagawa pagdating sa TESDA. Kasi ang trainer's methodology guys, ulitin ko ulit, ay iniugma ito talaga o galing ito talaga sa TESDA. And a combinations with your subject na dito sa inyong kurso. Ano? So, information sheet 1.1-3. So, yan. Ibig sabihin nito, ang pag-aaralan natin is more about the competency standard. So, our objective for this lesson is you must be able to define the competency standard, identify the parts of the competency standard, and identify the elements and performance criteria of your competency. So, yan. Ano ba, ma'am, yung ibig sabihin ng competency standard? So, actually, the competency standard or the code name is CS, not cesarean, but the competency standard is the written specification of the knowledge, skills, and attitudes and values required for the performance of a job, occupation, or trade, and the corresponding standard of the performance required for this in the workplace. So, ibig sabihin, guys, dito, ang competency standard, parang hindi nakikita yung points ko. Ay, sorry. Wait lang. So, itong competency standard ay pinapakita dito yung ano ba yung meron ka. Knowledge, skills. Anong kakayahan meron ka? Anong kaalaman ba? O kung meron ka na mga prior knowledge dun sa isang bagay, mas mabuti, mas maganda, mas advantage. At kung ikaw naman ay skills, meron kang magaling ka sa iba't ibang bagay, mas maganda yun. Advantage mo rin yun. Kaya lang, yung attitude mo, ibig sabihin, the attitude. Kung ikaw naman ay attituda, na parang halimbawa ay, porket magaling ka, may kaalaman ka, porket ikaw ay may experience or skills ka, pero ang attitude mo naman and your values are wala kang, may attitude ka, wala kang values. So, anong saysay ng knowledge and skills mo? Kasi syempre, mahalaga din yung ikaw ay marunong. Marunong ka, meron kang values, meron kang attitude. Mas yun yung pinapahalagahan mo. Diba? Di ba alam mo naman sa sarili mo kapag attitude ka, tsaka yung may values ka, yung values in a good way, mas maganda yon. But values in a bad way, hindi din maganda yon. So these are the required for the performance of a job, occupation, or a trade, and the corresponding standard of the performance required for this in the workplace. Ito nga yung lagi ko sinasabi sa inyo guys, di ba? Pag kayo graduate na, nagturo na kayo, o kaya kung hindi man kayo magtuturo at gusto nyo ibang field, wala naman problema doon, dapat lagi yung pangahawakan, may talino kayo, may kakayahan kayo, may skills kayo, pero yung attitude nyo dapat maging maganda, maayos. At yung values nyo, yun yung mas maganda. Kung ano yung meron kang kagandahang loob dyan sa sarili mo. So, yan. The unit of competency. Together, all the parts of the unit of competency, it is to describe a work of activity, guide the trainer in determining whether a learner is competent, and each part of the unit of competency was written with the purpose of achieving these two aims. So, ibig sabihin po nito, dapat po, lahat ng ipapagawa ni facilitator or ni teacher sa inyo na activity ay syempre dapat ay masasagutan nyo at dapat maging competent kayo doon. Pero kung halimbawa hindi pa kayo hindi nyo nagawa within this period of time, okay lang naman yon. But be sure to it at the time na ipapasubmit ko ito sa inyo, dapat po ay masubmit nyo talaga siya. Diba? And these are the parts of competency standard. So meron tayong unit of competency, unit of descriptor, the elements, the performance criteria, the range of variables, and the evidence guide. So ano-ano ba yan? Pag sinabi natin unit title, it defines the area of competency. So area of competency, dinidefine niya yon. And the written output terms. So this is to obtain the and prepare and supply the materials for production. Guided. And comprise a manageable component of work. So that is the unit title. Unit descriptor. Ano yung unit descriptor? Outlines what is done on the workplace, expands on the information in the title, and clarifies scope and intent of the unit, and helps to differentiate competencies with the similar titles. I-describe nyo yung yung title. Halimbawa ay, tulad kanina, nakalagay ay, ito. Yan, competency standard. That is the title. Descriptor. Information sheet 1.1-3. So yan, example yon. Elements and parts of the criteria. So elements describe in output terms the function that a person who works in a particular area of work is able to do. And the performance criteria, ito naman yung evaluative statements that specify what is to be assessed and the required level of performance. So yan po indicate dyan sa elements and performance criteria. So kapag sinabing elements lang, it is building a blocks of a unit of competency and describe in outcome terms the function that a person who works in a particular area of work is able to perform. And describes the actions or outcomes that are demonstratable and accessible and which the candidate must attain. So yeah. So the performance criteria specifies what is assessed and the required level of performance, precise standards of the competency of, and covers all the components, dimensions of competency, and focus on the evidence to prove competency evaluative statements. So ano naman yung range of variable? So ito naman, dinidescribe niya yung curriculum or the context of the work to be performed. And also, dinidefine niya yung the boundaries within the unit of competency which applies. And hanggang saan ba yung range of situations that should be focus of the assessment. And then it relates to the unit of competency as a whole. And also allows for insertion of specific knowledge and enterprise the requirement. Evidence plan. So, ang purpose nito is to guide the assessor in the collection of evidence. Assessor or the teacher, facilitator. So, kulang lang yung type ko. So, the purpose of this evidence is to guide the assessor, the facilitator, or the teacher in the collection of evidence. Kung na-meet ba ng learners mo yung mga pinapagawa mo. Must be related to directly to the elements and performance criteria and the range of variables. So ito po yung critical aspects of competency. So this tells the assessor, the facilitator, the teacher what evidence is essential for the successful performance. And it is also to identify the essential, like the productive evidence to complete the workplace or services, the specification, knowledge evidences to things that must be known, process evidence, ito yung mga complex the industry practices and procedures, and complies with the occupational health standard and safety practices. So, ito yung meaning ng OHS. Ito na-discuss ko na yata ito sa inyo dati. Ano? An example, paano natin isa-set yung set up the tools and equipments, how we handle the tools, materials, and equipment, identifies and solves faults and problems, how we're going to solve any, if you are facing some difficulties, and communicate with the others to ensure safe and effective operations. So, ito yung underpinning knowledge mo. Ito yung sinasabi kong underpinning knowledge is the knowledge or concepts involved in performance skills of the competency. It includes the specific knowledge that is essential to the performance of the competency and evidence of knowledge of legislation, regulations, and codes of practice. Kung ikaw ay may nalalaman na, kung ikaw ay merong knowledge, experience na in a certain competency or ways, so mas maganda yun kasi advantage yun. Advance ka. So, dito yun sa underpinning na skills pala. So, yung knowledge mo may kaalaman ka. Ano? So, skills needed to achieve the elements and performance criteria in the unit of competency. It includes both the generic skills, communication, and industry-specific skills or hand tools. So, yan, you may do this self-check 1.1-3 later. Proceed na ako sa Competency-Based Curriculum Information Sheet 1.1-4. Ano ang meron dito? So, our objective is to explain the relationship of the training regulations and competency-based curriculum, and also to identify and discuss the parts of the CBC. What is CBC? Competency-Based Curriculum. So the competency-based curriculum is a plan for structured series of learning experiences toward achieving the competencies identified by the industry. It details in training methodologies, resources, facilities, infrastructure, and other materials required both for training and assessment strategies. It is a specification of the course of a trainee will undertake to attain the workplace competencies to develop based on the training regulations. What is the difference of the components of the CBC under the course design to the module of instruction? So, ito yung pagkakaiba niya. So, dun sa course design, course title. Sa module instruction, unit title. Kasi module instructions tayo, kaya unit title. While here, nominal duration, sa kabila, module title. Qualification level, so sa module instruction is a module descriptor. Course description, nominal duration. So guys, yan yung mga differences of the components of the CBC. Ano, meron course structure, sa kabila ay summary of learning outcomes, then resources versus assessment criteria, assessment method, yan. Course deliveries, trainers qualifications versus the contents, condition, and assessment method. So yan po yung differences nila. So, yan yung course design. So it is an overall description of the course, which includes among the others information in the qualification covered by course outcome, units of competency to the corresponding module title, students' entry requirements, resources, training delivery and assessment strategies, and trainers' qualification. So ito yung course design kapag tayo ay nasa normal days ba? Yung ating ginagawa, yung tayo ay nagpe-face-to-face pa. So, ito yun. Yung format niya. The course design format. Ayan. Ito yung example. Example natin ay yung computer hardware servicing NC2. And then the nominal duration is 329 hours. Kapag yan ay yung sa module. Ano? Instruction ito. Module of instructions. Yan. Ito yung description. Pag sinabing course description, coverage of the course, relevance of the industry sector, possible occupations of the trainee will have after the completion of the course, and example. So, yan po. Designed to develop skills, attitude of the computer technician in accordance with the industry standards, and it covers the basic and common competencies such as installing, maintaining, configuring, diagnosing computer system, and the networks. So, yan po yung course description. And the entry requirements naman. So, ano yung mga entry requirements? Ano yung qualification mo? Qualification as a trainee or a learner who intended to enter the course. So, ito yung mga dapat gawin. Example, the trainee or the student must possess the following qualification. Siyempre, the learner should be or able to communicate in oral, both oral and written, physically and mentally fit, with good moral character. Of course, can perform the basic mathematical and logical computations, and analytical and logical thinking. So these are the unit of competency. Makikita niyo yung third column, the module title, the learning outcomes, and the nominal duration. So itong unit of competency, ano ba yung gagawin? Anong competency? So ito yung nakalagay sa core competencies ng computer service hardware servicing. So install Nasaan na? Wait lang, guys. Okay. Okay, ito yung ibig sabihin na yung install computer system and networks. Ito yung ito yung core competencies. So yung the module title na gagawin mo, installing computer system and networks. Ano yung mga learning outcomes na pwede mong gawin? Plan and prepare for installation, install equipment device system, and conduct tests. So, yan dapat yung magagawa nila. Yung outcomes ay output. At hanggang kailan naman ito? Ang nominal duration, ibig sabihin ay hanggang kailan ba nila ito pag-aaralan o gagawin? So, base dito, 60 hours lang nila ito gagawin. Ano, yung pag-i-install. Yung pag-i-install ng computer system and the networks. So, yan po yung example. Assessment methods. Ano yung assessment methods na pwede mong gawin sa iyong estudyante o sa trainer? I mean, sa learner or sa students. So, a list of all students' methods of gathering evidences using the course to measure the attainment of the learning outcomes. So, ano yung ano ang pwede mong gawin? Pwedeng observation, questioning, demonstration and questioning, written exam. So, yun. Yan po yung pwedeng assessment method. Di ba pag assessment method, paano mo maa-assess ang bata o ang iyong learner? So, through what? With the use of observation. I-observe mo siya while he is doing his demonstration. Questioning. Paano mo siya i-question? Pwede ka nang magtanong sa kanya. Halimbawa ay paano mo to ginawa, paano ka nag-install. Yan, ganun. Course delivery. The training modes used to implement the course. So, pwedeng example is dual training, apprenticeship, distance education. So, tulad ngayon, ang assessment methods na pwede natin gawin is observation. Pwede kayo mag-demonstration through virtual. So, yan. And sa course delivery, ito, pwede sa distance education, pwede virtual. Tapos po, yung pwede kang mag-OJT or apprenticeship. Module of instruction. So, yan. Unit title. Unit the competency which when applied, a work situation can logically stand alone. It expressed in outcome terms. Yan. Example, install computer system and networks. The module title. So, yan. Module descriptor. Ilalagay mo dyan yung brief description ng iyong pinapagawa. So, ibig sabihin, this module covers the outcomes required in the installing, assembling, and testing of computers and common peripherals. And the nominal duration, gaano katagal itong gagawin. Example, 60 hours, 120 hours, 100 hours. Learning outcome. Ano yung mga learning outcome? LO ang tawag dito. LO1, LO2. It is a statement that specifies what learner will be able to do as a result of the learning process. It should be written in an action statement and begins with an action verb plus the object of the action. So, example, learning outcome number 1, plan and prepare. Installation. Learning outcome number 2, install equipment or device system. So, ganun yun. Assessment criteria. Ibig sabihin, ilalagay mo dito yung mga learning outcome or list of criteria in achieving the learning outcome. Kung paano natin siya i-judge based on the evidence. So, kailangan ma-specify yung performance outcome ng iyong estudyante. So, yan. Example, ito. Installation planned and prepared to ensure that safety measures, policies, and procedures followed, and that work is appropriately sequenced in accordance with the industry standard. Or technical personnel consulted to ensure that the work coordinated effectively with others involved on the work site. And or the computer system and network devices obtained in the accordance with the establishment's procedures and to comply with the requirements. Yun yung example. And the content. Ano yung content? So, ilalagay mo lang list of specific knowledge, skills, attitudes, and safety that are necessary in order to achieve the specific learning outcomes. Tulad ng ilalagay mo yung safety procedures, basic terms, concept, functions, and characteristics of the PC hardware components. Structure of the operating system, familiarization with the various computer system, and etc. So guys, yung example ko lang is the computer servicing. So, pero ang gagawin natin, according to kung ano yung gusto ninyo. Halimbawa, kung meron kayong nakuhang for competency sa cookery, so yun yung gawin nyo. Kayo, halimbawa is prepare, ano ba ito? Halimbawa, prepare appetizer, mga ganyan. Conditions. Specifies the content of the training. This module list of tools and equipment. Lalagay niyo dito yung list of tools and equipment, access of the to learning resources, manuals, type of facility. So example natin, the student or trainees must provide the following. Personal protective equipment, our PPE. Example is protective eyewear, anti-task anti-static wrist strap. Yan. Electronic laboratory hand tools, assorted pliers, assorted screwdriver, soldering iron, and soldering tools. Kung ikaw naman ay sa FBS, ano yung mga pwede nating PPE na ilagay? Ano yung mga laboratory hand tools, kitchen tools and equipments na pwede nating ilagay? So that is the condition. Methodologies. So this is the one or the combination of the different learning approaches, methods and techniques to deliver the learning activities or activity which consistent to the CBT principles. Yung CBT is competency-based training. So example, ang methodologies ay lalagay mo, lecture, demonstration, self-paced, group discussion. Actually, yan lang talaga lagi ang nilalagay sa methodologies. So, yan lang ilalagay niyo. Assessment method. Sa assessment method, ang lagi lang naman nilalagay ay demonstration, oral questioning, written examination. So, yan lang. And now you can go to self-check later. You may answer the self-check 1.1-4. And now we are going to the characteristic of learners. Information sheet 1.1-5. Learning objective natin dito. After reading this information sheet, you must be able to determine the different characteristics of the trainees. One of the most important data that you must have when planning training session is the characteristic of your trainees or learners. So we consider the individual differences in training because the CBT is self-paced. Itong gagawin natin is self-paced. The design of training and instructional materials should therefore suit characteristic of each trainee or learners. And this lesson will discuss the different characteristics that you should know about your learners or students so that you will be able to plan training consideration individual differences. So ano ba yung mga ano ba ang characteristic ng isang learner? So one of the important part of planning in the training session is to analyze the trainees or the learners so that the training suits their ability level, learning styles and preferences, motivations and interests, because they are the basis in choosing the methodologies to be used by the trainer or the teacher or the facilitator. So, ano ba yung important note na pwede nating malaman? So, one of the key features is the competency-based training is pwedeng customized or personalized. Yan. And while the issues are diverse, the solutions are frequently applicable across different topics. So, not all issues for trainers are issues for trainees. Altering some simple components of trainees' issues can be resolved. Example, yung language issues. Kung halimbawa, meron kang estudyante na iba ang lahi, so dapat ay ma-address mo agad yun. So tatanungin mo ang mga learners mo, ang iyong estudyante, kung meron ba ikaw, kung sila ba ay nakakaintindi ng Tagalog or English. At kung hindi naman, halimbawa, meron kang estudyanteng Vietnamese, Taiwanese, o anuman lahi, o kaya, huwag na tayong lumayo, o kaya, halimbawa, taga-parting Davao o Bisaya, o Mindanao o Bisaya, pero hindi nakakaintindi ng Tagalog. So, dapat ay ma-address mo agad yung concern kasi sila ay nahihirapan mag-Tagalog. Or kung sila naman ay nakakaintindi ng English, dapat ang mode of language mo na gagamitin ay English. Ganon. At kung may mga differences naman kayo, some sort of issues, dapat ay masolve agad siya immediately. Para hindi lalala ang lalala ang sitwasyon. Okay. So the trainees characteristics to be considered when planning a session. So yan, characteristic of a trainee. So language, literacy, and numeracy. So ang iyo bang estudyante ay marunong magbasa, sumulat. Yun yung magbasa, sumulat, at magbilang. So dapat ang trainee mo ay marunong nun. Kasi tayo ay, syempre kasi di ba nga, example ko, halimbawa, meron kang estudyante na hindi marunong magbasa, pero magaling siya sa skills. So, dapat ma-address mo agad. Dapat ang iyong learner ay dapat malaman mo na ang learner mo dapat ay marunong bumasa, sumulat, magbilang. Okay. The cultural background. Be aware of different cultural backgrounds and practices. Bakit? Kasi, there may be activities that you choose which are inappropriate because of the cultural background, and practices. Hindi kasi lahat tayo ay magkakatulad. Iba-iba tayo ng backgrounds. Iba-iba tayo ng practices. So, yan. Dapat alam mo yon, malaman mo yon. Education and general knowledge. Kasi, dapat malaman natin ano ba ang level or education ng iyong estudyante. Kasi nga kaya nga dito sa Andragogy, may ma-encounter ka kapag ikay magtuturo na, may ma-encounter ka na may matanda kang estudyante, may bata kang estudyante. So, yan. And, malalaman mo ano ba yung education level ng estudyante mo. Ito ba ay high school level? Ito ba ay college level? Ito ba ay graduate ng college? Yan. Kasi may mga tulad na lang, ito example ko. Tulad na lang dito sa TESDA. Pag may mga estudyante ako na tinitrain, halimbawa, gusto niya mag-training sa cookery. Halimbawa, magpo-cookery siya, gusto niya mag-NC2, mag-undergo na NC2, mag-NC2. So, kailangan niya mag-undergo ng training. So, tinatanong, sa una pa lang, bago pa lang, mute po, so bago pa lang siya mag-fill up, ini-interview na siya ng training center about yung personal or profile niya. Kung ano natapos niya, ano ba yung background niya, kung may experience na ba siya sa work o dun sa industry, o kung may experience na siya, halimbawa, kaya nga, kung may experience ba siya sa pagluluto, nakapagtrabaho ba siya sa restaurant as a chef, yan, kinoconsider natin yan. Bakit? Kasi, kung ang isang applicant ay gusto niyang mag-training at gusto niya mag-NC2, ang binibigay natin sa kanya ay hindi na natin itinuturo yung basic sa kanya. Nagiging advanced siya. So, bibigyan ko siya ng module, magbabasa siya, magsasagot, at pagkasagot, at nakapasa naman siya through sa exam, magne-next na siya sa another module hanggang makuha na niya. So, hindi na niya kailangang hantayin yung isang buwan o kunyari isang linggo lang, yung lecture na yon, pwede na siyang mag-skip, mag-advance. So, ganun ang TESDA pagdating sa mga trainings. Meron mga interview. So, yan. Kaya nga, lagi kong binabanggit sa inyo, advantage kapag meron kang experience. Kasi mag-move ka into next module or into the next phase. And another one is the gender. Yan. Pwede mong malalaman naman agad natin kung ikaw ba ay ikaw ba lalaki o babae. Wala naman ditong, anong tawag dito, discrimination. Hindi naman na-discriminate. Kung ikaw ay nasa, anong tawag natin doon, kung bilang ka sa LGBT, okay lang yun. Walang discrimination pagdating dito. Hindi issue ang gender. Okay? Age. Hindi din issue ang age. Hindi issue ang age. Kung ikaw naman ay may skills, halimbawa, ikaw ay 18 years old and above. Siyempre, ikaw ay marunong siyempre, pag 18 years old ka, marunong ka na magbasa, magsulat, at bumilang. Nakakaintindi ka. So, walang problem doon. Physical ability. So, ito dapat ay hindi pinagbabawalan kung halimbawa ikaw ay pilay, naputol ang paa mo, o legs mo, o anuman, o kaya ay halimbawa na wala kang isang braso, wala namang problema. But as long as kaya mong gawin yung gusto mong i-take na kung anumang NC ang gusto mong i-take, syempre. Kung ikaw naman ay halimbawa ay magluluto at wala kang paa o legs, hindi naman yung hadlang kasi kumpleto ang kamay mo. Diba? Kumpleto ang kamay mo. Walang problema yun. So, pwede naman yun. Na-address naman agad yun. Basta't kaya mong gawin. Ano? So, ayan. Previous experience with the topic. Ayan. Dito sa previous experience with the topic, ito ay syempre, ito nga kung ikaw naman ay magaling ka naman talaga. So walang problema doon, move ka lang ulit at naiipasa mo lahat ng mga exercises and exams. Walang problema. So move ka lang into the next one. Previous learning experience. Yan. Meron ka ng previous knowledge. And general attitudes about the learning. It is a great help pag meron ka nito. Training level completed. So, ibig sabihin, kung may mga trainings ka nang na-attendan, halimbawa, local or domestic or abroad, mas advantage yun. Mas maganda yun. Bakit? Kasi, pwede ka nang halimbawa, gusto mong mag-NC ito ng cookery. May graduate ka ng HRM o graduate ka ng food tech. Tapos ikaw ay nagtatrabaho sa hotel bilang isang chef or kaya bilang isang demi chef, sous chef, o whatever, kahit anong position mo, basta chef. So, ibig sabihin, pwede ka nang magpa-assess agad-agad. Pwede yun. Papa-assess ka, pwede yun, agad-agad. Pero syempre, bago ka ma-assess, nagpa-file muna yan, ipa-file mo muna yan. So, 7 to 10 working days bago ka isabak sa assessment. So, yan. Pwede ka munang mag-practice, pwede ka munang mag-review, kasi hindi lang naman basta pag ikaw ay magpapa-assess na, hindi lang naman basta ikaw ay sasabak agad. Pwede kang mag-self-review. Yan. Special courses. So, pwede kang mag-undergo din o mag-enroll sa isang special courses para mas mabilis yung iyong kung gusto mong mas mabilis kang makatapos sa course mo. Learning style. Ano bang gusto mong style of learning? Halimbawa, ang estudyante mo, mas gusto niya ay audio, kaya visual, or kinesthetic. O kaya ang gusto ng bata mo ay nakikinig lang siya. Yan. O kaya visual siya, or kinesthetic siya. Actions. Other needs. So, dapat ma-refer agad to mga special needs that would be requested by the trainee. Example, yung working student, pwede lang siya ay sa gabi, walang problema. Single parent, May trabaho, single parent, sa hapon lang o gabi din siya pwede. So yan, kailangan ay malaman mo agad kung anong availability niya. So yan. So ganun ang dapat aalamin mo muna kung ano yung mga pangangailangan ng trainees or learners mo. Okay? So ganun lang siya. Kasi meron halimbawa tulad kayo, hanggang ano ba, tayo ba, di ba, tatanungin natin, ikaw guys, ano ba ang gusto mong time para mag-aral tayo? Available ba kayo every Saturday ng 7 o'clock ng gabi onwards? So kapag nag-meet tayo, so yun, okay na yun. So mas madali, di ba? Na-address agad. So yan. So we are now at the learning styles. So ibig sabihin dito sa learning styles, so some of the learners sit through hours of lectures and retain all in the information presented, while others benefits more from the hands-on lab classes. So reasons. Anong reason? So the trainees have different learning Trainers have different learning styles which present both trainers students with a problem when classes are taught in one set way that might only benefit the one kind of learner. Okay, so trainees or learners, however, help themselves by finding out what kind of learner style they belong and to customize their study habits to that particular style. So meron tayong mga 3 major groups of learners which are the kinesthetic, the visual, and the auditory. So ito, most of the time, the trainees or the learners have combination of these learning styles. So ito, visual learner. Ano ba pag mga visual learner? So ibig sabihin, the visual learner will often lose focus. Often lose focus during long oral lecture, especially if these are not accompanied by drawings and illustrations. So may mga ganyan tao di ba? So the visual learners takes mental pictures of information given. So in order for this kind of learner to retain information, oral or written presentations of new information must contain diagrams and drawings, preferably in color. And the visual learners can concentrate with a lot of activity around him or her and will focus better and learn faster as in a quiet study environment. So yan yung mga visual learner. So mas gusto nila ay yung mga visual. Another one is the visual learners are often they are good spellers, fast readers, great at seeing in the big picture but often forgot the smaller details, and good at remembering faces but hard time to remembering names. Tama ba? Marami ba sa inyong ganyan? Ako minsan ay ganyan. Minsan I am good at kumbaga sa pagkilala yung sa mga faces, but remembering names, I'm not good with that. Yan. Sometimes I forget names, pero pag nakita ko na yung mukha niya, kilala ko siya, I remember him, I remember her. So yan. Kayo, ganun din ba? Many of you siguro ganyan. And the visual learner will benefit from the colored coded notes. They use using the drawings to illustrate, outlining information, and using mind maps and the flashcards. Ito namang isa is, may lamok. Kinesthetic learners. So, itong kinesthetic learners are described as the students in the classroom. These who have problems sitting still, yan, they are not, they cannot sit long. Kumbaga, gusto nila gumagalaw kasi hindi pwede yung naka-steady lang. Kahit ako, di ba kanina pa ako nakaupo, hindi ako mapakali ng hindi medyo gagalaw. Hindi ako, kumbaga yung parang steady ako. Para ba yung mga anchor, yung mga newscaster sa TV na ang gumagalaw lang sa kanila ay bibig. Diba? Nakaganyan lang sila. And then, ang gumagalaw lang ay bibig at gumagalaw lang ay mata. Yan. Diba? Ang hirap nun. And who often bounce their legs while tapping their fingers on the desk. Yan. So that is what I am doing right now, kahit kanina. Kumbaga ako ay ginagalaw ko yung mga fingernails ko. I'm chopping my legs or tapping the table while I'm discussing with you. Kasi I can't sit still and do nothing ba. Yan. And they're often referred to as hyperactive students with the concentration issues. Ayan. So sabi, the kinesthetic learners are often gifted performers. Tama ba? Oo, tama. Kasi yung mga kinesthetic, kinesthetic learners, they are gifted kasi magaling sila in the move, in ways or in movements or actions. And naturally athletic. To get the most of the education, the kinesthetic learner can choose classes with hands-on logs, study with loud music in the background, kasi many of them, they cannot focus on their study without listening music, and they use memory and flashcards and study small groups and take breaks often during study. And another one is the auditory learner. Ano ba dito? For the auditory learner, oral presentations are crucial for understanding a subject, as this kind of the learner has the ability to remember speeches and lectures in detail but has a hard time to read written text. So yan, mas okay sila in the audio. Having to read long text is a pointless and will not be retained by the auditory learners unless it is a read aloud. And the auditory learners often has a strong language skills, a well-developed vocabulary, an ability to follow spoken directions well, and a hard time remembering faces but easily remembers names. May ganun nga. Sometimes may mga ganyang tao na, yeah, I see, I heard that names, I remember that names. Ganyan. Tapos, but I forgot the face. So, may mga ganyan tao. And for the auditory learners to get some most out of the classes, it can be helpful to record lectures, use words associations, listen to audio tapes, read notes aloud, sit in the front of the class where the teacher can easily seen and heard, and study and discuss subjects with the other students. So yan yung mga most of the auditory learners. And the structured questionnaires on my next slide is prepared as to gather a data gathering tool which help us to determine the learner's characteristics. So in this, you can let the trainer, the students answer these questions before answering the data or the data gathering instrument for determining the trainer's or learner's characteristic. So ito lang yung what's your learning style. So these are the questions. So choose the first answer that comes to mind and click the A, B, or C and do not spend too much time thinking about any one of the question. So ito yung ipapasagot nyo sa mga learners nyo pagdating ng panahon. O kahit kayo, you can try to answer this on your own and determine what learning style you have. Ano? So, number one is, when you study for a test, would you rather A, read notes reading headings in a book and look at the diagrams and illustrations? Ganito ka ba? B, have someone ask you questions or repeat facts silently to yourself? Ganito ka rin ba? And letter C, write things out in Dex card and make models or diagrams. So yan, pili ka. Ano ka dito? So yan. Number 2, which of these do you when you listen to music? Daydream, see things that go with the music. Hum along, move the music and tap your foot, etc. So what learning style, which one do you prefer here? So A, B, or C? So number 3, when you work at solving your problem, do you A, make a list, organize tab, and check them off as they are done? B, make a few phone calls and talk to friends or experts? C, make a model of the problem or walk through all the steps in your mind? So, paano ka ba nagsosolve ng problem? 4th, when you read for fun, do you prefer A, travel book with a lot of pictures in it, B, a mystery book with a lot of conversation in it, and C, a book where answer questions and solve problems? Yan. Number 5, to learn how computer works, would you rather A, watch a movie about it, B, listen to someone explain it, and C, take the computer apart and try to figure it out for yourself? So yan. Alin ka dyan? Number 6, you have just entered the Science Museum. What will you do first? A, look around and find a map showing the locations of the various exhibits. B, talk to a museum guide and ask about exhibits. C, go into the first exhibit that looks interesting and read directions later. So, ano ka dyan? Number 7, what kind of restaurant would you rather not to go to? A, one with the lights too bright. B, one with the music too loud. C, one with the uncomfortable chairs. Number 8, would you rather go to A, an art class, B, music class, C, an exercise class? Number 9, which are you most likely to do when you are happy? Green, B, shout with joy, C, jump for joy. So, ano ka dyan? Number 10, if you were at the party, what would you be most likely to remember the next day? A, the faces of the people there, but no, not the names. B, the names but not the faces. C, the things you did and said while you were there. Number 11, when you see the word dog, what do you do first? A, think of the picture of the particular dog. B, say the word dog to yourself silently. C, sense the feeling of being with the dog, petting it, running with it, or etc., etc., etc. Number 12, when you tell a story, would you rather A, write it, B, tell it out loud, C, act it out? Number 13, what most distracting for you when you're trying to concentrate? A, visual distractions, B, noises, C, other sensations like hunger, tight shoes, or worry? Number 14, what are you most likely to do when you're angry? A, scowl, B, shout or blow up, C, stomp up and slam doors. Number 15, when you aren't sure how to spell a word, which of these are you most likely to do? Letter A, write it out to see if it looks right. B, sound it out. C, write it out to see if it feels right. Number 16, which you are most likely to do when standing in a long line at the movies? A, look at poster advertising other movies. And B, talk to a person next to you. C, tap your foot or move around in some other way. And so, those are the questions para malaman mo kung anong learning styles ba ang meron ka or yung iyong learners. Ano? Okay, so now let us now move to the Cobb's Learning Inventory. Cobb's Learning Inventory of learning styles describe a learning process and style with the emphasis on the need for learning to be grounded in experience and the importance of the person being active in learning. It provides the guidance in the situation where learners' differences plays a role in the communication and human interaction, and the model provides ways to gauge personal intuitions towards learning and other clear and actionable way to communicate learners in learner environments. And we have four main styles of the most people have a preference for 1 to 2 styles. And this learning inventory by Kolb's is about. I'm going to discuss this on the next meeting because we are running out of time now, and we will continue this next meeting. And I would like to ask you kung may mga tanong pa ba kayo or meron ba kayong hindi naintindihan dun sa ating discussion. Sorry for the background. So, pwede pong magtanong, guys. Naintindihan ba yung mga first discussions? Yes, may tanong?
Ma'am.
Yes.
Matanong ko lang po muli. Ano po yung sa subject po na 1.1-3? Yung sasagutan po namin sa Google Class. Ma'am, yung iba sagot po kasi zero po yung naglabas.
Zero?
Opo, ma'am. Zero.
Kahit tama naman po ma'am yung
Okay. Sige, check ko na lang yun, ha?
Sige po ma'am. Salamat po.
Okay. Ayusin ko na lang.
Opo ma'am.
Next question. Okay. Meron pa magka-question?
Ma'am, ay.
Si Lori daw muna.
Sige muna ate, baka isa lang ay.
Doon po sa task sheet 1.5.
Lori muna, Lori. Kasunod ka, Pauline. Si Lori muna.
Ma'am, si ate Pauline na po, narinig ko na po yung itatanong niya, ay parehas lang po ng sa akin.
Okay. Ano nga, ulitin yung question. Hindi ko na intindihan.
Doon po sa task sheet 1.1-5 po. Yung po sa title ay Develop a Data Gathering Tool for Trainees Characteristics. Paano po yung gagawin po dito, ma'am?
Yun ay self-check 1.1-5.
Opo.
Sige, yun ay huwag niyo munang sagutan kasi hindi ko pa nadi-discuss.
Wag po na. Kasi nakalagay din po doon sa Google Classroom meron.
Pero halimbawa ganito, if you have the advanced reading na din sa discussion ko at kaya niyo namang sagutan, walang problema doon. So, yun naman ay walang due date. Wala siyang due date kung kailan siya sasagutan. Ino-open ko lang yung mga yun, open lang siya, scheduled open lang yung for answering the self-checks, edi ngayong 1 o'clock. Pero wala siyang due date. Okay lang yun. Hindi ko na nilalagyan ng due date para kung sino yung gustong, halimbawa, hindi makakapag-online today, o halimbawa, hindi makakapag-online bukas, pwede sa ibang araw, okay lang yun. Basta kailangan yung sagutan pa din. Huwag kayong magli-leave or huwag nyong ibablank siya o huwag na hindi nyo siya sasagutan at dapat masubmit nyo sa akin. Ha? Okay?
Okay po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay na yung arrangement na ganon. So, anytime pwede nyo siyang sagutan. Pero kapag excited naman kayo at ayaw nyo nang ibinbin or iwanan yung aking subjects, pwede naman. At least kasi hindi lang naman ako yung subject nyo, di ba? So, kung kaya nyo naman sagutan na ngayong araw na to, walang problema. Tapos, i-discuss ko na lang siya for the next meeting. Okay na? Pag may mga tanong pa, sige, tanong pa kayo.
Yung module po.
Mr. Bala?
Module po ay may part po na blank.
May part na blank yung module.
Dito po sa mismo po natin. Ito po ay blank page po.
Medyo grounded ka, Mr. Bala. Grounded yung iyong connection. Grounded ka. Sige, i-type mo na lang. Sakit sa tenga. Okay, kung may blank ba aside from Mr. Bala, yun sa module nyo? Wala naman. Pero meron naman akong sinend, guys, di ba? Nakasend dyan sa GC natin. Pwede nyo pong balikan, mag-backread kayo, tapos i-download nyo po for your soft copy. Ha? Kasi sinend ko na yung yung soft copy natin. Para dun sa mga synchronous kong estudyante, sinend ko na in advance. Okay, any questions? May naintindihan po lahat yung mga discussion? Medyo nalinawan ng konti?
Opo, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Mas malilinawan pa kayo later sa mga susunod pa natin kasi na mga discussion. Kung halimbawa basahin nyo, medyo paano kaya to? Pero on the next meeting, one at a time. Huwag kayong masyadong exaggerated, huwag kayong masyadong excited. Madidiscuss din natin, pero basahin nyo pa din. Para at least pagdating ng ating online class ulit, mas malilinawan na kayo. Ay, ganyan pala yun. Konting explanation ko lang sasabihin, ay, yun lang pala yun. Ang dami-daming sinasabi na nakasulat, pero yun lang. Madali lang yan, guys. Gagawin nating mas madali para hindi kayo mahirapan. Sabi ni Patrick, blank pages po sa module dito. Okay. Well, na lang, i-backread mo yung GC natin, tapos ay i-download mo na lang. Tapos itatry ko ding i-send dito sa Google Classroom natin yung soft copy. Para anytime pwede nyong balikan. So, wala na po bang question? Okay, welcome. Wala nang question? So, kung wala na pong question, tayo ay magpipicture taking. Paki-show naman ng mga mukha nyo. Pa-show video muna.
Ano po, sabi po kasi ni Lori, tas nakita ko din po dun po sa 1.5-5 ay meron daw pong due, nakalagay daw po yung Friday 11:59 p.m.
Oo, yun kasi ay dun sa tatanggalin ko yung due. Tatanggalin ko yun.
Opo, kinakabahan po kami, mamay.
Hindi, okay na. Kung naka-schedule pala, may due date pala, siguro ay nalagyan ko. Tanggalin ko na lang yun. Picture muna tayo. Nasaan na yung iba? Pakita muna ng faces. Ayan, kita nyo, may mga naka-uniform pa pala. Diba? Mga bagong gising. Nag-toothbrush ba kayo?
Opo, ma'am.
Mamaya, hindi kayo naligo. Ako hindi paligo mamaya.
Naligo.
Hindi pa po ako
Naligo na po ako.
Ako di pa naligo. Kumbaga, naghilamos, nag-toothbrush lang ako, tapos ano yun? Yung routine sa face, tapos lipstick lang, pulbo lang pag may time. Di ba? Kala niyo fresh ako.
Alam niya man din halatang fresh pa din.
Fresh.
Di ba? O, kita mo, yung favorite kong student na si, bagong gising yata, nakasandok pa eh.
Opo,
Sino
ma'am.
tayo ka? Sumagot siya. Alam niya siya ang favorite ko. Nakasando eh. Nag-toothbrush ka ba naman?
Hindi po.
Ay, hindi. Yuck! Joke lang. Okay, kompleto na ba? Teka, may second page ba ito? Teka lang, check ko lang. Ba't parang kulang? Wait lang ha. May kulang para hindi kumpleto sa aking screen. So, wait lang ha. Ilan bang, kasya na ba? Okay. So, picture tayo. Smile na po. Parang ako pala ang wala. Teka nga. Wait lang, ako pala ang wala. Teka. Remove ko tong isa. Yung ako din to eh. Para makita ako. Ayan. Nasaan na ako? Ba't ako ang wala? Paano ko makikita? Wait lang guys, wait lang. Alam nyo ay, ganun talaga kapag di pa marunong sa, pag di pa marunong sa technology. Jologs. Teka lang ha.
Nakita ba?
Wala talaga ako. Nasaan ako? Hindi ko makita ako.
Ikaw ay makikita ko the picture.
Sige na nga lang, kayo na nga lang ang mag-picture.
Napa ba mo sa top side?
Teka nga, nahanap ko nga. Alam nyo, pag jologs talaga, hindi mahanap.
Top right po atang
Ayan, nakita ko na. Kasi naka-open pala yung aking chatbot. Ayan. Yan, yun na. Di maalam si teacher eh. Ayan o. Alam niyo ba ako nandun sa top right side? Napakaliit ko pala. Ayan o. Okay. Okay na. Game na tayo. Smile. Ayan. Kala nyo naman kung papapictures ng 2x2 okay, passport size. Okay, class. Thank you for attending our class today. So, see you next time.
Thank you po.
Wala. Wah!
Wah, sakit.